Hello, welcome to Good Games Well Played, episode 144. I'm Clint, aka JCM. With us this week is Messiah.
Hello.
And Isley.
Yo, you changed
I threw him off.
No.
Yeah. And I heard you, like you're getting ready. Yeah. I was like, yeah, he's going to get thrown off with this one. Yeah, here we are. We're not a lot of news, more than last week. You know, last week we talked a lot about what we were playing. And we will be talking about Baldur's Gate 3 since Zaya has been playing some of it. We probably won't talk too much about it, but
It's just a Baldur's Gate 3 cast now.
Yeah. But there's this funny bit where Microsoft has like this auto upload videos feature, like I guess if you capture any scenes or whatever. But Microsoft has this feature where like I guess if you screen save, it'll upload it to the server. You know, they've had this since Xbox One, so I guess you can easily share video clips across multiple platforms or to other people. And I guess people must be taking videos of the romance scenes in Baldur's Gate, so those are getting auto-uploaded, and then they're getting banned because of it.
Oh no!
Suckers.
Yeah, and they're like, they're like, oh yeah, you know, where it's like they say, you know, each clip's reviewed or whatever, which I don't believe, and I'm sure it's like an auto-ban situation, but it's also like you allowed this game on your platform, like A, turn off that feature, or B, only allow people who have the age rating on their console for the game that they're clip that they're viewing to be able to watch it. Like, why are you punishing, you know, the folks who are uploading this video? But
Because it's absolutely auto-modded, and they're like, "Oh, we're reviewing it, we promise," and we saw a boobie, and that was bad.
yeah, they're like, no, it's on the user, so that's an issue right now. People are kind of a little upset at that. But yeah, it's such a silly little thing, and I'm like, okay, whatever, you know, you guys deal with that. I don't have to. But but yeah, as far as other news goes, you know, so last week we talked about casting of Abby in The Last of Us. They've also cast Jesse as well. They announced that Jesse will be played by young Mazzino, who was also in. I always hate when they don't put the roles of what someone was in, but they were in that Netflix comedy drama Beef, which I haven't seen, so I'm unfamiliar with their work, but they'll be playing Jesse.
That was a weird show.
I thought a lot of the actors, well, I guess maybe they're not, but I figured like, okay, Joel is Joel because he's like, you know, it's this PS3 era. They weren't making a lot of character models look like the actors. So same with Ellie. You know, hey, we design it looks like this. But then as time moves on, a lot of characters in games start to look more like they're actors, which has its pros and cons. But I'm surprised, like a lot of the, I guess you call them side characters in Last of Us 2 were handcrafted or hand designed, I guess, versus just being like, let's save time by just using the voice act. I mean, you're already doing the facial capture anyways. Like, why not just make everybody else, you know, outside of, you know, Abby, look like they're voice actors, I suppose. So I'm surprised that whoever is because I would assume like, oh, whoever's the face model for Jesse, but I guess if they just created that character, then it's like, okay, we can't do that. So I suppose that makes sense. But yeah, and then we also got, speaking of Naughty Dog, they announced they're going to be releasing Grounded 2, the Making of Last of Us Part 2 documentary. I guess this was a document. So they did Grounded 1 for the first Last of Us, and I watched that. It's like an hour-long documentary. It's pretty good. I'd say the Racing Kratos one is like higher tier because you get much more of that like crunch and way more behind the scenes and concern and drama at the studio regarding actual game development, where Grounded is more like, hey, it's kind of crazy. We're just taking this left turn, doing this new idea. It's still a good documentary, but they're doing one for Last of Us Part 2, and it seems to have some of those elements from the Racing Kratos documentary. I'm hoping it'll be a nice deep dive look. But yeah, I guess they had scrapped it initially, like, oh, we're not going to show this. But then they decided, like, you know what, let's go ahead and release it. So it's like, all right, I wasn't expecting this. Like, I assumed if they had done it, it would have been earlier in 2020. But yeah, and it's got some interesting audio clips in the trailer. Like they talk about the leaks that happened at Naughty Dog. There's someone in there who says like, I'm older now. I'm not able to crunch the way I used to. I'm like, that's not like, that's one of the things that typically you would cut out. So I'm really curious, like what other crunch culture kind of stuff they leave in there. But yeah, it's like, yeah, because I always think about the one in Raising Kratos when executive producers like struggling, thinking about balancing, doing that work life balance, and just like, she's not there at Santa Monica anymore. But yeah, it was just like, man, it was like a raw look at someone talking about the how difficult they can be sometimes. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it comes out in, let's see, do they have the release date in this article? I think it's going to be, the 19th. So it'll be out soon. I believe it'll be on YouTube, so everybody will be able to check it out there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to watching that. That'll be a fun one. Then the next bit of news we have is that Sandland, which is the video game based on Akira Toriyama's manga, has a release date. It's going to be coming out. It was announced last year, of course, but yeah, it will be releasing. Oh my God, this article doesn't put it at the top. Why are you doing this? It's like, okay, there we go. April 26th.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be April 26th. It comes out, of course, PS5, PS4, Xbox consoles, only Xbox Series X and S, and PC. So it doesn't look like Xbox One. But yeah, so that's got to release. I know a lot of people, well, a lot of podcast sites listen to people who really like Dragon Ball or like really excited about that one. I'll be curious to see how it turns out because it looks interesting, but I kind of want to see more of that gameplay. So what do you got going on? But
that's me. I'm excited for it regardless. I'm gonna play it.
Yep. And then the last bit of news here is apparently Best Buy Canada's website listed a DualSense V2 controller for PS5, which has apparently a 12-hour battery life, which is, I guess, 2x the current battery life for the DualSense, which is 6 hours, depending on the gameplay. Obviously, I'm sure, like, if you got a game that's got heavy trigger effects, that's going to take a little more stuff, depending on how strong those effects are and how much vibration you have. But it's one of those things, like, I guess as I get older and I don't have as much game time, battery life, when I hear people complain about it, like, it's never been an issue. I'm like, man, I wish I had 7 hours straight to play something to have that concern about a controller dying on me in a game session.
I think the last time I ever had a controller die on me from charge to empty was like when I was playing Final Fantasy 15. Like when I was playing for 12 hours a day. Like I don't think I've ever had that problem since.
The only time it ever dies on me is if I forget about it. It's never it's never because it went from charge to empty. It's because I forgot that I was playing a game and then didn't charge it and then had to go back and be like, oops,
Exactly. Yeah, I played for 3 hours the other day and then an hour and then another hour. And it's like 4 sessions later, I'm like, oh, I forgot to charge it. I'm not sitting there going, oh, damn, Sony and your weak-ass battery. Like, it's like I never had that issue, but
we've had like maybe similar issue when we've been we have 2 controllers, but if we're both playing something on the PS5 and we like that's all we're doing all day is like trading off who's playing, then maybe I can see that, but it's still not like one of us sitting and playing.
Yeah, and then like even now when I use it, it's like in order to use it, I think you can use the Bluetooth on PC, but it's just so much easier to pair if I just plug it in. So it's like it's always plugged into the PC if I'm using it there. So I'm like, it's just always charging. I got to worry about it. But yeah, it's because I know things like the PSVR 2 like controller shelf lives and other headsets like MetaQuest and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, if those controllers only have like a 2-hour battery life or something like that, like not that maybe everybody has a 2-hour session in VR, but I can see like, okay, that's a little more like, all right, I could see me having 2 hours at night and running out of battery on a controller and be like, man, I want to keep going. And those, I'm not going to have like multiple sets of VR controllers, But yeah, just console controllers. Like it's never really been. Plus, I do think it's weird. Like, Isley, do you only have the one controller or do you have multiple controllers?
I have 2 controllers, but
yeah,
I tend to use a controller so much that they break and then I need a new one. So it's usually like I have one good controller and then one shitty controller. And then as I play more, then I have 2 shitty controllers and then I get a third and it's a process.
Yeah. I don't know who's out there with only the one controller. Like I feel like I've always had 2 controllers.
I find I buy a second controller much less with newer systems than I used to. With couch co-op not being really a thing anymore, and
Yeah,
not
that's true.
having friends that come over because I'm older, I don't really buy or care about a second controller quite as much. They're usually backups for myself.
Yeah, that's usually what I would buy them for too as well. It'd be like, okay, if I'm in a situation where maybe like in a different housing setup where it's like, okay, I'm too far away to plug it in with the cord. If I need to charge it while gaming, so I'll just put it on the dock and then use the other controller, which is typically what I would do. Is I just swap them, rotate the 2 controllers, and yada yada. But yeah, I have too many controllers, but that's because I got kids as well.
The only reason we have the second controller is because when we got the PS5, the Christmas that we got the PS5, somebody bought us Sackboy and an extra controller so we could play together. And then we never played Sackboy. But that's why we had 2 controllers.
That's why we got to play Sackboy.
I know, we really
They just added more costumes to it. They had a cute costume they added the other day. Yeah, I'm gonna
they're
look
still
it up
adding
while we're talking.
costumes.
Yeah.
Oh, we should play
Yeah,
it.
they're gonna have to. What's the studio that makes that? Sumo Digital. Yeah, they just.
That makes Sackboy?
They're the ones who made Sackboy Big Adventure. Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't Media Molecule?
No, Media Molecule only did 1 or 2. I forget who did. I don't even think 3 was Media Molecule. It was someone else. But
oh, for some reason I thought they were still working on it. I guess I missed that. I don't pay attention. So
other channel. Oh, they added a bunch of emotes to it. Really cute emotes.
Aww.
Yeah, so I'll post that in Discord just so you can see the
link
to the tweet. But yeah, typically they're updating little costumes every now and usually with like a Sony first party that had like a Christmas tree, other costumes and stuff like that. Like the Ellie one and the Kratos ones are those are from a while back, but they have some good. I like the Aloy costume. That's a good one. Nathan Drake one's funny. But yeah, I used to run the. I forget what costume I used to run like all the time. But yeah, they have some really good costumes in there. They've got Freya and whatnot.
When we played Little Big Planet 2, I think it was, I was Raiden the whole time because it was like we had a Metal Gear Solid 4 like pack or whatever. Yeah, and he was Snake for a while, but then he changed to something like really obnoxious. I don't remember what it was. Some like horrible amalgamation of costumes, but I was Raiden like the whole time.
Nice. Yeah, once you beat the game, you get the villain's costume as a costume, and I was like, I just run around that because I like that costume. But yeah, it's a good game. We should play that. It's a fun one. But yeah, as far as news goes, that's pretty much the end of it. Not much else. The DICE Awards got announced. I believe they're going to be happening in February. Yeah, be in Vegas in February. So I think February 13th, I believe, is the DICE Awards. And then the whole summit will be the 13th through 15th. So it'll be coming up pretty soon, about a month from now. So I'll look forward to watching the DICE Awards. Yeah, because all the nominations came out. I know like Spider-Man led the nominations. And then, of course, all the other big hitters had a lot of nominations as well. So that'll be a fun one to watch because that's, it's the developers voting on what they want. I mean, they're the ones who that year that Untitled Goose Game came out, it won Game of the Year at the DICE Awards.
Because it deserved it.
Yep, all the devs thought so.
Goose Game deserves Game of the Year every year, to be honest.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. So we can go ahead and jump into what we've been playing. So I know what Zai's been playing, so we'll go ahead and start with Isley, because I don't know if you've been playing much. You don't have anything linked to your Discord, so I can't see if you're playing something on console or anything else. So what have you been playing?
Well, it's fitting. I went back to the start of Baldur's Gate 3 and started a dirge run. But I'm doing a not asshole-ish dirge. I'm doing a neutral-ish dirge. Well, so I have to do some evil stuff. Like I don't know how much I can talk about this because you and I have talked a bunch, but I don't know what spoilers for Zaya now. But the first big decision you make in Act 1, I'm doing the evil routes because I'm missing the evil route trophy. And other than that, I will probably do like a semi-neutral run of like alternating good and evil choices just because I find the concept of like the good playthrough dirge to be kind of interesting. And I just kind of want to see how that plays out in certain areas.
Yeah, when I was watching Zaya play, I was like, man, I kind of want to boot up Baldur's Gate and just play at the same time while watching.
Yep.
See,
Yep.
that's the same effect I get with Bloodborne. Like when I see somebody play Bloodborne, I'm like, I want to go play. I'm going to play this right now.
Yeah, I get that a lot with not so much because I don't see it that frequently, but recently, like someone on my timeline has started to replay Elden Ring, and I'm like, man, I really want to. Just like I also really want to replay Demon Souls, like because we all like you still need to play Demon Souls, so I'm like, we should all just play Demon Souls.
You haven't played Demon Souls yet?
No.
Yeah,
like I think Michael played it for like a couple hours, maybe.
A couple hours.
So good.
Okay, maybe that should be my next co-op game.
To be fair, a couple hours is enough to beat that game. So I don't know why I'm like, a couple hours?
I don't know if he even got to the second box. I think he beat... What's the slime called? Phalanx? I think he beat Phalanx, and that's all I saw him beat, so I don't know.
Oh, you guys are paining me.
Yeah, that's a good game. Like I said, I really love the way it looks. Like it just looks so good. Even if you play it at that 60, the performance mode, like the game just looks great. Mm-hmm. I love just seeing that because I'm typically not one for like medieval games and whatnot, but like just seeing the fidelity of the architecture and everything, and even some of the other levels you go to, like the second world and whatnot. Like I just love the way everything looks. Just even like the poison swamp. Everybody hates it, but I was like, I still love the way it looks. There's the second area of the prison. Like I love how that looks. Just because you're on these like high beams overlooking just like darkness. It's just I like that.
Areas that are like really gorgeous and fun to be in, but
mm-hmm.
are just the bane of your existence to play through.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me that Michael didn't play more of it because I know he actually likes the Souls games. Mm-hmm. So I wonder how much this is like new iterations of Souls games are so good that going back to some of the older ones just feels weird kind of thing.
I'm not sure. I think it was kind of during a period where he wasn't sure, like, because around the same time he was playing a little bit of Ghost of Tsushima and didn't get into that very much either. So I think he was just looking for he was playing a lot of like roguelites and bullet hells and stuff like that at the time. So like pick up and play type of games like Risk of Rain and stuff like that. He was just kind of like not really sitting down and fully playing anything at the time. So I think I'm thinking maybe he picked it up and went through it again. He would probably like it. I think it was also, I don't remember if it was before or after he played Elden Ring. It may have been before, kind of like filling that gap or whatever, but he really likes FromSoft games like Bloodborne and Sekiro, where they're like more fast-paced kind of thing. And I think maybe
Demon Souls is not that.
Yeah, I think maybe that was part of it. And I told him to look up like builds and stuff, and he was like, no, I'm just gonna pick whatever and start playing it. And then he picked like the mage and didn't use any of the magic and was like, I can't do damage to anything. I don't know why I'm losing. I was like, you're not using your magic. You started with a wand. Use your magic. So I think it was just a case of like, he may have been looking for like a Sekiro or Bloodborne kind of experience, or like he played a lot of Dark Souls 3 too, so it may have been after he played that, was looking for that. But the way that he played Dark Souls 3 in like the latter half of what he was playing, he rebuilt his character to basically be like a brick shit house and was just like walking through the whole game because he was so over encumbered, but nothing could knock him down or hurt him. So I think he was looking for something like that maybe.
Yeah, I think even in Demon Souls, isn't it the more like magic is like the most OP of the Souls games, right? Isn't it?
They're all pretty fucking broken in that game. Magic is probably the most easy button in that you can make a build that like you cast 2 spells and a boss dies. But to be fair, you're talking about like killing a boss in 2 casts of a spell versus killing a boss in like 4 swings of a sword, which are both similarly kind of easy to execute.
I mean, yeah, I guess if you're going for that min-max cheese build, you're getting that one sword at the beginning, you're making your characters, world balance like switch to the one side, so you do like extra damage with that one sword. But
it's not a hard game pretty much no matter what you're doing. All options in that game are kind of easy.
Yeah, I think the difficulty will just be in the fact that, it's the unknown. I mean, that's like I've played all the Souls games up to that point, and like, okay, I'll play the OG one, but still like that, you don't know what's around the corner, so it's like you're still gonna die. Yeah, you might one-shot a lot of the bosses, but it's still like, okay, this one is, annoying. Or you get that one, like Souls always has, like, oh, you got that one boss where it's like, if you went pure melee, they're going to be annoying. Or if you went pure magic, it's like they're annoying. Or although Demon Souls does have one of the dumbest boss fights ever in the Souls games.
Is Demon Souls the one with that like flying manta thing? Okay.
I like that fight.
I always thought that looked really annoying.
No, it is, because they fly away and then they get stuck on something and you're like, come back, please. I'm ready to fight you now. Come back, please.
It's fun, though, because it's like you're not supposed to fight the boss normally. You got to go run and get that sword. It's like, all the games that have like it's that one sword that's in like all the Souls game. That's like the Storm Swords or whatever.
Are you talking about? The gargoyles?
No, the giant flying mantis in the storm.
It's like in a big tornado or something like that.
Yeah. No. Oh. That one I just kill with a bow and arrow.
Oh, you don't run and grab the sword? Use that sword's so fun. It's just like, bam, 3 hits.
I mean, you can kill it with a bow and arrow pretty easily, or you can just kind of like
if you
let them attack you, and I don't know.
I guess
it's pretty easy to kill them.
All the little annoying flying mantis get kind of obnoxious. I'm like, I don't want to have to. I was like, I'd rather just run, grab the sword they want me to get, hit it 3 times, the blast, and then be done with it. But no, I was talking about the jailer or the what's his name? The dumb dude with the bird on his head. Like, that's the dumbest fight in that game. It's like, this is just the worst boss.
It's really interesting because it's like, it's not the most polished game. I'm not gonna like sit here and pretend like Demon Souls is the best game ever, but man, when it first came out, it felt so different from everything else.
Oh yeah,
and now looking back, you're just like, holy shit! It just like everything that was in that game has been adopted by other games at this point, and I don't know. I find it fascinating how commonplace some of the decisions now seem, even though they were kind of like unique at the time.
Like going back and seeing like, oh, this is such a trope, but you have to remember that this is kind of where the trope started.
Right.
Even though you're playing like the remake or whatever, you're like, oh yeah, this started this trend in games and difficulty and stuff.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So just playing your Dirge playthrough, nothing else?
Yep. Playing my Dirge playthrough. Struggling with being a Dirge, I would say. It's just hard for me to play shitty characters.
Just
you were like, kill all the kids. It's fine. It's easy. It's like it's such an easy time. And then watching Zaya play, I'm just like, oh god, both of you are like psychopaths.
I haven't killed any children, but I have pushed a few of them because it's very funny.
It is a little funny, I will admit.
To be fair, I've pushed adults too. I'm just the pusher of Faerun is the goal that I'm going for.
That's right. Fair, I guess.
But yeah, Zai, you've started playing. Have you played before you jumped into Baldur's Gate? Were you playing anything else?
No, not really. I was playing the new story update to Honkai Star Rail, but the boss that they introduced is really stupid, and I hate it. So I haven't beaten it yet. I've just been going on to grind to get some of my newer characters up to level, because I got Argenti and I got him a little bit geared up and took him in a fight, and he's kind of carrying me right now because he's a little bit badass. So I have another healer that I'm gonna try. It's basically just like spending all of my time rebuilding the party that I'm going to take into the boss fight, because it's just so aggravating. But once I get past that, it'll be really good and fun. I'm sure. We'll see. But that's really all I've kind of been playing until we started this.
So I know Michael played with his friends. Did he also started his own run by himself? That way he can catch up on the actual story. And then he's also playing, he rolled a character to play in your campaign.
Yeah, so he had his multiplayer group going, and he missed a lot of the opening story because he didn't know that when somebody was in a cutscene, you could like join the cutscene and see decisions and stuff like that. So he missed a lot of the beginning. And then also by the time they got to, I think they're towards the end, the like mid Act 3, I think he said. But by the time they had gotten to Act 2, they had completely obliterated just about everybody in their world and had ruined relationships with probably every NPC in the game. So
Perfect.
he started his own solo playthrough, which I didn't know he was playing on Tactician, and I was like, that's insane. But I guess he's been playing on Tactician where he's just kind of playing like, I guess, a neutral-ish playthrough just to kind of experience some of the things that they had maybe destroyed in their multiplayer game. And then when I started the game, he joined with a fresh new character playing a class he hasn't played yet. So he's played it not all the way through yet, but 3 times at this point.
Yeah, I was surprised when he was in your game that he was his own tab and not just playing one of the origin characters.
Mm-hmm. That's just fine, because it's just like there's really only 2 origin characters that I was super interested in like getting to know and having in the party just for their interactions and stuff, and we have them. So I think if I do end up wanting to see the other characters and do like other playthroughs and stuff like that, then I'll just do a solo playthrough, and I'll have like, the origin characters. That way I have them in my party, so if anybody wanted to like join or whatever, they could just be like, oh, I'll play as Karlach, or I'll play as Astarion, or whatever, whoever I have in my party, just like, jump in and play. But yeah,
because I was curious, like if he plays, like let's say he played an origin character,
mm-hmm.
and then you play a session without him. I'm curious if then that origin character that he was playing acts as if they were a companion. Like obviously, I believe they're stuck in your party regardless. Like you can't take them out. Like that's like if I was to join mid game, I can make a tab, but then you're stuck with my tab if I'm not playing with you. So I'm curious, like, okay, because they act differently, right? If you're an origin character, they don't talk; they're silent in the cutscenes. They just talk in the wrong. So I'm curious now if you can have like if you go talk to like if he was Astarion, and then you talk to Astarion, does Astarion talk to you as if it was him normally, or not because he's Michael's tab essentially? Like I'm curious if it prevents that kind of a interaction. But
I would imagine that if you have origin characters in your party and somebody joins multiplayer to play as them, it's still as if that character is that character. They're just controlling their combat and movement and stuff.
Right.
I don't know if it would actually turn them into a tab character that like never speaks or interacts or anything like that.
Yeah, after the fact, yeah. Like if I was to join you guys, I can control like Shadowheart or Astarion, and then if I left, it'd be fine. But yeah, I'm just curious if it breaks it from because when you play an origin character, there is extra stuff in their story that you see that you don't see if you just find them as a companion.
Oh,
so
really?
So I'm curious, like if because of that, it now kind of locks in like, oh, well, now you're going to see it from their perspective. Therefore, the game loads, that storyline versus just talking. That. Yeah. So I'm obviously he didn't do that. He rolled a tab, but I'm just curious, like, how that works. Cause I imagine that must be the way it does it, but,
I want to play a playthrough with just origin characters now. I didn't know there was like differences in their, I guess, like dialogues and stories and stuff if you play as one of the origin characters or if you have all of them, I guess.
Yeah, they're not like huge differences, but because like obviously like if you have, like Karlach as a companion, they have all the dialogue that they've written for her to talk to Tav with. But if you play as Karlach, then you don't have that. You only have the lines you choose from. So they have all these like little extra things because now you know more about that character because you are them. You don't need to learn it later down the line. So they have some additional stuff you can see. I don't think it's like a ton, like a completely different playthrough, but there are differences in each of the origin characters when you play as them.
They have like different reactions to stuff and
Just like I know some have like different cutscenes that you can only see. It's like their personal quest cutscenes, like stuff like that.
A non-spoiler one is, well, semi-spoilers. You know Gale. Do you know about anything about Gale yet?
I know that he's a DILF that I pulled out of a void hole.
Do you know what his storyline is?
He's like a... well, I got the cutscene where he like comes to you as a ghost and is like, hey, you really need to revive me because it's really important.
He died.
But it happened to...
What? He died? How did you kill him already?
Listen, the stupid thing is it was playing that cutscene behind the game over screen because we all exploded. So I wasn't really like able to continue that cutscene.
Okay. Yeah, I listened to that.
So...
Oh, they must have been when they were in, because they blew up when they were in the crypt. Michael, they didn't disarm the...
I'm just gonna message. Message JCM on the side to ask the question.
I've talked a lot of spoilers with Zaya, but the thing is, she probably won't remember any of the things I talked about.
So you could about this game. So
that's wow. I can't spell.
No.
Okay, never mind. I'm trying to think of like a non-spoiler thing I know about Origin characters, but.
It's just, again, it's just little cutscenes that you get as them that's specific to their personal stories that you don't get in the normal game because they tell the player about it, and you only learn that through building the relationship with that character or having them in your party. And you just get it at different times in the game and yada yada, where there's like, okay, they have this problem or this personal quest they got to do. So as the Origin player of that character, you get to see some things sooner. So that's all. So it'll be, and plus I think some of them also have some extra, like I've seen one and where it's like, oh, it gives you, like, that's how I learned about it. Like, oh, if you play as, like, cause people learn, like, if you play as an Origin, you get this extra scene, yada yada. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So it's like you could still have, extra little flavor on another run if you play as an Origin character. Cause that's the one thing I didn't want to do, is I was like, well, I like talking to them. I don't want to lose that if I play as them, but I was like, I guess if I want to play as one, maybe where a character I normally don't have in my party, I play as that character, and then have 3 other characters or something. That could be interesting. But
so it's basically like it's like a single player way of presenting their story and their information. It's the same stuff you would get as if you had built the relationship, but since you're not playing a side character, it's like they have to present that in some way.
Yeah, just more of it and presented in like a different way.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's interesting. That's really cool.
And I think in some instances, the more of it really covers it. If like you just get a different perspective on the information, so that honestly, I think it's just so that repeat playthroughs are still fun to play.
Interesting. Yeah. Because I was thinking that if I do play a solo playthrough, I don't think I'll make a Tav. I would kind of really like to play as Lae'zel and like get as much of like her backstory and her story as possible. So I think that would be really fun to do, like just a full playthrough with all Origin characters.
Yeah, man, that's tough, because then that's the thing too, is like, I feel like if I was to do that, I'd have to pick one who I've already seen. That way I know I don't miss on that dialogue because the performances are so good.
Yeah.
But I guess, that would be, because you still get, like, they still talk when they're like running around or you're pickpocketing, or like, I got a lot in my mind and well in it. But that's why once you got Asterion, you got to just crouch with him and just pickpocket everything, because then you just get that Asterion ASMR, which is so funny. But yeah, because that's a small change you get too, is on that when you're on the Nautiloid. And, she's the one who attacks you. Instead, it's just another Githyanki, who then I think just disappears because they're not important. But
they're just like, my job here is done, but you didn't do anything.
That's right. but yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I was watching you guys for a while, and it seemed like when I had stopped, you were on your way to go find Karlach. So it sounds like you went and found Karlach.
Yeah, we went and found Karlach, and we did her fight thing, which was, we probably should have come back and done, but I kind of really wanted to do it like right away, just in case. So we ended up struggling, but we managed to do it. So we stopped. It was like midnight when we finished it. So we did her fight, thing that she wanted to do. She ran around all crazy, and I was like, "You go, girl. As long as you're happy,
she
I'm
does
happy."
Do that.
Yeah,
Does do that.
yeah. And we
The
were
first
just like,
time she did
okay.
that, the first time she did it, I was just like, "What the fuck are you doing? Why are you like what? Calm down. What are you doing?"
I just all our characters are standing outside, and Asterian's standing there next to me, and I'm just like, I have the camera on Carlock, just watching. I'm like, yeah, you deserve this. You go, girl.
Yeah.
So we did that, and then that's right where we stopped. So I mean, we didn't do a whole lot else. We did like we talked to, you know, the druids or whatever, and I somehow fucked that up, but I wasn't really like super paying attention because I broke my fucking chair and like during the cutscene I was like so I wasn't like, I made a decision and then I looked back and the child was dead. I was like, what just happened? So I'm not sure what happened there.
I was watching that happen. I'm just like, oh my god, like how does this even happen?
I know. I was like, I don't know what happened, and we were distracted. Okay, I don't know. I broke my fucking chair, but I fixed it. It's okay now. I had to do a little surgery to it and add some stuff to it, but it's fine. It's functioning now. Yeah, I don't know. I just been really like, the concept for my character that I decided was I wanted to be as small a tiefling that I could be and as cute of a tiefling that I could be, but I picked every like subclass and like background or whatever that gave me bonuses to intimidation because I just wanted to be a very intimidating little like cute thing that runs around Faerun being a menace more than anything, being really annoying. And so far it's worked out beautifully. Like,
did Michael try to match your character because you guys look sort of similar-ish?
No, that looks like his character that he had in the multiplayer playthrough. So
Yeah,
he kind of just made the same thing because the tieflings honestly are like S tier character design.
She's got that poofy cyberpunk haircut from what's her name, plus the horns, so it looks interesting.
The pompadour or whatever. Yeah. So it's similar look but different class. And then in his solo playthrough, he has a dragonborn. So so you can't pick a dragonborn as your guardian, and I don't know why. It really annoyed me. I really wanted a dragonborn guardian. Instead, I just made a big buff lady with cute little hair, but I don't know why they don't let you make a dragonborn as, I don't, unless it's like some story related thing that I'll find out later, like, okay, this makes sense as to why it couldn't be a dragonborn. But
I honestly can't think of a reason why you couldn't make a dragonborn. There are some limitations with the guardian creator that I assume are just behind the scenes, like it's less memory or something.
Yeah. So I don't know, maybe that's why is like it was too taxing or whatever to have the dragonborn as I don't know. I was just annoyed. I wanted big buff dragonborn man as my guardian.
Can't remember what else. I think your guardian also, like, you get less voices, and I think there's less hairstyles. Like, you can only pick I think it's just like a simplified character creator to make something back end easier.
Yeah, they do only have 2 voice options, which I'm assuming is because your guardian is like voiced in cutscenes, right?
Yeah.
So I figured that's why there's only the 2 voices. Of course, like, your tab also has voice lines too that are, and they have like 7 or 8 voice options. They're just not like fully dialogued, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I was disappointed. I was like, I'm about to send this game back. This is annoying. Oh, and they won't let me summon 30 crows with like conjure animals. What is this?
Yeah. It probably must have been like a in development thing. Like maybe the Guardian came up in development later on. So it's like, that's why they only have so many. I also have some other thoughts about perhaps why not, but we talk about that down the line. But yeah, so I can say like, okay, let's just do like just a few. We don't need to have them as much, player freedom in the creation of this character versus the Tav.
Right.
Yada, yada. But
which I'm fine with. I mean, even if it had been like, okay, here's the femme dragonborn and here's the mask dragonborn, and these are, you don't really get options as far as like their face or even coloring or anything like that. I'd be like, sure, whatever, just give me just give me whatever Dragonborn you feel is appropriate. That's fine.
Yep.
But yeah,
I have a well. I don't really have a theory as to why the Dragonborn. I was trying to think of like I know that the default Dirge creation is a Dragonborn, but I don't know why that would prevent you from doing a Guardian thing as a Dragonborn, unless there's something I don't know. But
I know the Dirge came later, so that came pretty late in development. So I think it could maybe they don't have as many, but I don't know why they wouldn't just throw that model into the Guardian portion as well.
Well, I was almost wondering if I know the Dirge came later, so if maybe they weren't planning on having Dragonborn originally, maybe.
Yeah, but even then though, I feel like if you, that could be a case. Like, okay, we didn't, we came really late with the Dirge, like because they even said in one of their presentations before the game launch, like they're like, oh, when it launches, it'll have Dirge, which wasn't in early access. But I'm like, okay, well, if you have the character creator for a dragon, dick and everything, it's like, why can't you just put that into the Guardian? It's like that's why it's just a little odd that you can't just you have the tools there, just why not put it in the other spot as well? But it's because who knows, maybe they had some extra, maybe the armor that the Guardian wears, it's unique to the Guardian, so maybe they didn't want to like have to model around the stuff. That could be like because they've talked about it in like FF, right? Like armor models are kind of a pain to deal with, and you got to make sure they fit all sizes and whatnot. So it's like I could see that. Like, okay, we had the dragon, we designed all the other armors. Do we have enough time to design this armor? Maybe not before the game launches. Who knows? Maybe down the line I could see that could be something maybe they patch in later. Like, oh yeah, now you can have a Dragonborn Guardian. But you're talking about making like the cutest tiefling who has like the most intimidation. Like when I made my Dirge, it's like, okay, well, I'll be a drow because drow has like unique character interactions, and I was like, ooh, this will be really good for an evil Dirge playthrough. But I'm super cute, I'm really short, and she also has like ritual scars on her chin and everything. So it's like it's really cute, but you're like, there's something there, man. There's something there.
There's something a little off about it.
There's something off there.
I don't even remember what hair I picked now. Oh, the the braids or whatever, the pigtail braids, and which I didn't realize, like her bangs, I picked this piercing set specifically because it had like a little eyebrow piercing that was a little moon, and it was very cute, but the hair covers it, and I was like, oh, stupid. But I
think Withers lets you change your hair, or then the mirror does.
Well, yeah, but I like the hair.
I like the hair.
She's got white hair, and the little braids have like purple in them. It's very cute. But yeah, and I wanted to do the pigtail buns, like the palm buns, but they clip through the horns. Pretty much like all the horn options clip through them. So I was like, that's gonna bother me, and I'm not gonna do it. But yeah, I tried to make her like as like small and unassuming as possible. She got like freckles and the little braids and little moon piercings and stuff, but I'm just walking around Faerun pushing everybody that I can push.
Literally.
Yeah. So have to get my athletics up so that I can pass more checks, but doing pretty good so far. Have pushed one child without consequence. That was my goal for the evening, and that happened, so that was good. Just have to, there's a lot of people that I wish I could push. I wanted to push the druid lady, like try to push her into the water that's in there, but the interaction was red, so I was like, I probably shouldn't do that here.
Yeah, because I think then the whole grove, I think, will just turn on you all day.
Yeah. There's already a section of the grove I can't go to because they keep trying to fight me because they're like, hey, we heard that you've been picking on children. I'm like, I don't know what you mean, but I keep failing the checks, so I'm like, okay, I'll just won't go over here.
Next thing you know, Michael's going to steal the aisle.
Anyone.
I know. It's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know anything. And they're always like, yeah, that's not convincing. Lie. I'm like, shit, why do I keep failing my roll?
They're little thieves, the kids. Come on, man.
I know. I'm like, you stole from me.
Yeah. That was one of the things. It was funny, like, because playing the evil playthrough, like all the kids kind of go away. So then, like, I'm used to seeing like these little tiefling kid vendors that show up later on, and like they're not there. I'm like, yes, that's right, they're gone. I'm kind of missing those little vendors, but
it's like the genocide run in Undertale when you get to the later game and there's just nobody around. You're like, I think there's supposed to be people here.
Yeah. Man, that'd be so cool if like you could join. Like, I guess what you could do, I suppose, would be like create, because it's got cloud saves. So like make a save and then create a session. Then like if Isley and I joined, like remake our tabs, and then we get like get like the photo mod, the photo mode mod, and then like just get like a group picture of all our tabs together. And then just delete the save and just go back to an earlier save so you don't have to worry about our tabs being in your game. But I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm going to remember like all of my values that I picked to make the tab, because then you'll just, dude. I guess what you'd have to do is like
you could go to Withers. If you respec, can you see the stats that you currently had
for appearance?
Yeah.
I guess maybe the mirror, if I go to the mirror, you just can't change your race. So I guess I go to the mirror and just go there and see.
That's what I mean. Like, go to the mirror, see what your stats were.
Yeah. And then just
them.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, because I would love. I have to install that photo mod and get it. I saw someone playing the other day with like the increased party size. I think it was like 6 people in their group. I was like, man, that looks like so much fun. It'd be OP as
cool,
shit. But
then you could have like everybody in there basically.
Yeah, you can just have a bunch of people, but it'd be so OP. I'd be like, all right, but
you just play on harder difficulty.
Yeah, we should do that though sometime. I guess because crossplay is there, so Isley could join.
I wonder how that would work with mods, though. I doubt I can join a game that has mods.
Well, I think the photo mod is just going to be the local person, because it's just a camera mod. So it just lets me like move my camera around. It's not like it doesn't do anything to the actual game. So I don't think it should break. I'll like, if we want to do it, I can like look into it and see what happens. Because I just think it'd be like, because like I think about like our Bloodborne, even though we're all wearing costumes in the Bloodborne picture, but we're we're all standing together making photos. Like, that's just fun. It'd be cool to see just a nice cool shot of like custom tabs, especially because there's some good spots in Act 1 that could be nice places to take pictures, and then plus it's huge. But yeah, that'd be fun to do. Just get.
So it has cloud saves, but are the saves local too? Like, could you copy your save like file and then just replace it?
Yeah, so I'm sure like what you could do is just make a manual save instead of like an auto save, and then just like, because you have a save right now, it's probably just a quick save or whatever. But you go and like make an actual manual save, and then just have us join that one, then delete that one, and like I'm guessing that's how it would go, because it's you could also make multiple sessions. So I think it might be like, okay, if you make a manual save and then you make a new session and then we join, that would be like a unique save to your main game that's unique to that session, because when we join as our created tabs, we level up to whatever level you are as the host. So I think it would like probably create its own unique. I mean, I could always test it out with like Isley or something first and be like, okay, here's, I'm on my playthrough, join me up, let's see what happens. And they like, maybe I'll go back to like my first run, because, I don't care if it messes up that save, and then just test it there with him and be like, let's see if this works. And then see if I can just go back to the save right before it, because is it session based or whatnot. But I just think it'd be kind of fun to get armor, and maybe wait and do it later when we got like better armor or something. But even early on,
I was thinking like maybe in our game, when we make it to Baldur's Gate, because I'll have like armor and stuff that I could give to people probably by then, and it would probably be a cool backdrop for taking pictures. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, because I know like Underdark has some cool spots, the glowy plants that look nice, and I'm trying to think of like anything in Act 3 that would look pretty cool. I mean, there's a lot of cool buildings in like the background and stuff like that, but and then not too many spots in Act 2 that would be picturesque, but but yeah, the mountain pass would be a cool spot too. There's a lot of nice cliff lookouts in that gap between Act 1 and Act 2. But yeah, anyway. But yeah, so you guys can pretty much stick with it for a while and just keep playing it?
Yeah, that's probably what we'll do, like in the evenings and on weekends and stuff.
Yeah.
Just whenever we have time. Because I don't have a whole lot of time usually on weekday nights, but it seems like could probably at least do a little bit of running around, maybe like a quest here and there, and then like do maybe main quest stuff or the bulk of it on the weekend. So it'll probably take us a while to get through it, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know how thorough we're really going to be, because I am just kind of like wandering around, and I am already ruining quite a few relationships with NPCs, which I'm not too super concerned about at this point, but you know, it's fine. I'm making it through. Nobody's, well, that little girl is dead, but other than that, nobody is really dead. So
nobody's dead except for the little girl.
Look, she made her decision, and now she has to. Well, I was going to say now she has to live with that choice,
it.
But...
Oh, I thought you were going to say she's dead and now she has to live with it.
I was going to say that. Look, that's the only. I was distracted. Okay, I had a real world emergency going on at that time, but other than that, it's fine. I've just been a little bit rude. Which incidentally, apparently Asterion really approves of, because I went to talk to him to camp for the first time and it like snapped and he was lounging back on a bedroll. I was like, sir, you need to calm down.
Yeah. You did save the tiefling kid from the harpies, so that was one thing. So you counterbalanced it with that.
The harpies really don't attack. They don't attack you much on lower difficulties there. I was kind of surprised by that.
Yeah, I forgot you were playing. Like when you said that, Isley, I was like, no, they're playing on normal, aren't they? And then when I saw like the damage output from one of the moves, I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. Never mind.
Wait, well, they are playing on normal, right? Or easy?
Like the balanced or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're playing on that.
Yeah, because like the harpies on Tactician, the harpies kill the kid in one hit.
Okay.
And I swear there was once or twice where the kid ran away from the harpies and it didn't trigger an opportunity attack, which was really annoying because if you don't disable the harpies, then the kid runs away, triggers an opportunity attack, and then gets killed by the harpies by just running away past them.
Yeah, because he was like constantly like disengaging and running away, and I was just like, okay, I know he's running away. Do I have to sit here and watch him do that? Like, just let me have my turn. I'm gonna I wish my tab would stick her leg out when he was running away and trip him.
Maybe he was just outside the range or something, or who knows what.
There's been a few times where I've been able to get away from enemies without triggering attack opportunity. I've noticed it mostly when I'm wild shaped. I guess I didn't mention that I'm playing a druid. But when I'm wild shaped as a wolf, I tend to not trigger counterattacks when I'm walking away from stuff. But I've noticed that there's a way, at least in some situations, if you pick just the right spot to walk away from, you won't trigger it because you're not technically like in their attack radius, but if you go too close to them, then you'll do it. You're
using a pole arm as well, like you're using a long weapon. So I think you have reach over their normal melee attacks. Mm-hmm. So that gives you an advantage to where you can attack them, but they can't necessarily, they have to get slightly closer to attack you. So you're by default outside that range. I'm wondering if maybe that kind of somehow extends when you wild shape, but I don't think it should. Maybe wolves just naturally have avoidance over attacks of opportunity or something. I don't know, but
yeah, I don't know, because
they also could have used up their reactions by doing something.
Maybe
because we were doing a fight somewhere with like a bunch of archers, and I was wild shaped as a wolf, and I would go up and attack them, and then I could just walk away, which didn't matter because they were all archers. They would just shoot me anyway, but it was very funny to like walk up and bite them and then just casually walk away. So I kept doing that. But yeah, I wasn't triggering any attack opportunities when I did that. I don't know why.
Yeah, you just have to just so you're playing, just like stream it on your server in Discord, and then just like I'll mute myself in the future, but just so I could have like it's a shame that it only does. I wish without Nitro it'd be at least 1080p at 30. It's weird that it's 720p at 30.
It limits it without Nitro. But I could probably stream it to Twitch, but I'd have to set up OBS to the right bit rate and everything like that. Yeah, but it's just don't want to do all that. There has to be a way. I guess I could check later when we play. I guess whenever we're playing, I can just leave it up or whatever. But There has to be a way that I, on my end, can like mute you guys so you can still sit in there and talk, but I wouldn't be able to hear. I would just have to have like the chat.
Oh god, it was so hard to not be like, Saya, go here. Saya, what are you doing? Saya, you missed this. I was like, I might not be fit out for watching a playthrough of Baldur's Gate 3 because I explored so fucking much, and it was like, oh my god, go here. You missed this. Go back to that. Go back to that.
You're going to be
what are you doing?
really annoyed watching me play too, because I'm very mean to everybody.
Well, no, that part didn't bother me. It was just like the loot aspect. And there was, when you guys were doing the enhanced leap thing, and Michael was like, oh, I can jump over to here. I have enhanced leap. And I'm like, or you could just walk there. Or you could just walk there. And I'm like, I gotta sign off. I'm going to say something bad.
I know, he was like, I'm going to use enhanced sleep. I was like, can't you just jump there normally? He's like, yeah, but I can jump further with this. I'm like, oh, okay. Why are you using your thing?
Let it do
fine. I don't know. You can do whatever you want. I don't care.
Yeah. No, I'll just mute myself because it's not like I need to talk. I could just be in the calls just because I think like there's nothing going on. You guys are having a conversation. It was like, oh, we'll say this because it was part, but I'll just mute myself.
I was just thinking so that I could have it open and you two could be in like voice chat. And
no, I don't need to talk to Izzy the whole time while you're playing. Like, oh, they're not doing this. They're not doing this. So I do this because I'll be playing. Like I was playing Auction Not Included at the same time, doing that. So I wasn't really trying to comment too much on anything because I was focused on my stuff. But
I was also just kind of
about my poor decisions.
I was cracking up because when I logged in, JCM's just in there like laughing to himself.
Well, that's because I was
cackling to himself.
Well, that's because you asked me. You're like, so what's been going on? I missed everything, and then
that was before I asked this. I just joined the call, and all of a sudden, I just hear you go.
Well, you said
he's also being. JCM's being this little devil in my ear that he's like, just do it, just do it, just push
that's
it.
Right.
I'm like, I'm not going to push the rat.
He's like, yeah, he's got to kick the rat. Yes, go ahead and do it. Oh, no, he's got.
And then Michael threw a squirrel at me. I don't know. This is going to be a mess.
No, because in Discord, he asked me, he's like, are you laughing because it's a spell, not an arrow? And I was like, no, I was laughing because I was giving you the recap because you're like, hey, what's going on? I'm like, oh, tiefling child, try to steal from her, blah, blah, shove the child, no consequence. And I was like, she cased them through a black hole, this, that. I'm like, oh, now she's failing to save the child from the siren song. And I was like, and then I quoted you in Discord saying, oh, and her fat ass broke her chair. And because I would never say something like that, it was making me laugh. And that's why I was laughing when you in the call. Because I would never say that, but that's what you said. So I started quoting it. Just sounded so funny.
My chair snapped during the cutscene. I was like, my fat ass just broke my chair. But it was so loud.
Yeah,
you're doing your best.
It's still broken, but I kind of fixed it, so we'll see. I like my chair.
Yep,
it's been a mess. It's been a time. So
yeah, just gotta make sure you careful next time. not going too crazy. Because your cat was also like giving you some problems. But we're like, get your butt out of my face. Get your butt out of my face.
Oh, yeah. Francis likes to sit in front of my monitor and I can't see anything. And all the controls for Baldur Gate are at the bottom of the screen, exactly where he likes to put his butt. So that's fine. Scarlett had the zoomies, so she was losing her mind in the background and crashing into things and chewing on things. It's been interesting.
Yeah, I aside from wanting to play Baldur's Gate after watching you guys play Baldur's Gate, I've just been playing Auction Not Included, playing some more Immortals of Aveum. I didn't download it, but I added the finals because it's a free-to-play game, and people are talking about it. I was like, I kind of want to try it, but I know, like, I guess ranked on PC is super bad because, like, I looked at the Steam reviews, and, like, every review, all the recent reviews from the most current update was, like, region lock China because there's just so many hackers on the leaderboard. Or in the rank system. I'm like, which I've seen, I mean, that happens like all the time, even like Apex and Warzone and whatnot, like on PC anyway. So I was like, maybe if I do play this, I just play it on console because then it won't be a problem. But I was thinking about giving that a shot just to try it out because it's so hot right now. Plus it's got some former DICE members who work at that studio that made that game. But yeah, I just play more Immortals of Aveum. Got further in the story. My prediction was correct that the one character I thought who was like the right hand of the bad guy is the friend from earlier in the game that fell into the wound. And I was like, but it was so weird because then I finally get to a point where like they get in a confrontation, like I'm trying to look for someone, and then you're chasing. They're called like the hand is their name, and so like you're chasing the hand out this place. Like someone just got killed protecting you, who you're trying to find and tell you like try to learn something about the binding stones. And so you're chasing the hand. They're like they have the ability to fly, but you got the ley lines are all throughout this like underground area. So you're like using your whip to lash on them and take them to travel. It's like a new traversal ability I unlocked. And so you're riding the ley lines, chasing them down. And then at one point, like you shoot at each other and they turn, and then you fire another shot and you knock their mask off. And then, but they're turned away from the main character, and he's just like, "Please don't be you." And then she turns around and it's her. I'm like, but at no point in the game did you ever think it was her. I was like, I feel like you missed somewhere in the writing that there should have been some sort of hint early on, like maybe like the hand calls him Jack after meeting the first time or something, or says, "Don't do it, Jack." And then her and the big bad guy leave. Like there was no hinting or inclination that Jack knew or suspected it was her. So it was so weird when he's like, "Please don't be you." Like even if it was hidden in like, cause he has like a journal, which gets updated a lot. Kind of like, Kratos' journal in God of War has like facts about the thing plus his thoughts on the people or the situation. And Jack's has some of that as well, like a little bit of it in his journal. It's like, yeah, you can recap the story and you find out stuff maybe that he gives his own little flavor text to, but none of it ever indicates that he thinks it's her. So it was just like, okay, this wasn't a good payoff. Like you clearly missed an opportunity here. So like that was a little weird. The other thing too is like I kept wondering why. So you have the whip ability, so you can pull people towards you. Awesome ability. We talked about last podcast how it's very much like Bullet Storm. I'm like, this is awesome, but I didn't realize until I was playing a while ago that you can hold it, because typically if I'm fighting like a lightweight enemy, I just tap it and it grabs them, pulls them towards me, and I do my blast, yada yada. But then when I was doing traversal, there's all these like grapple points you can use, and I would whip to them. So I'd press the button and I'd like pull myself, and then I would be short, or I'd have to like double jump and then float, which is like, traversal you can do, and then to grab the next one. And I was doing like this puzzle room, like puzzle challenge, and I couldn't quite get it. And I couldn't figure out why I couldn't make it. I was like, why is this so difficult? And that's when I realized, oh, I can hold it. And then when I lash onto something, I just pull myself straight to that grapple point, like a grappling hook. And then I go to the next one instead of just pulling myself a little bit. Because there were also some like heavy enemies when I'd use the grapple on. I'd hit them with the whip, pull them, but then it would only pull like part of the way because they're heavy. But if I hold it down, then it pulls them further. It just takes a little longer to get them towards me. I'm like, but nowhere in the game does it say press L2 and hold. It just says press L2. And I'm like, okay, but you don't tell me. Like, it annoyed me a bit because like none of the other, like the other ability you get, where like you shoot these things that slow people down, you press L2, it shoots the blobs. I don't know. The other one for the canceling beam, you learn to hold that because when you press L2, he fires the beam for a second. If you hold it, the beam keeps firing. I'm like, okay, this is a press and hold situation. But nothing ever indicated it for the whip for anything. So I was like, I even went back into the menu to look at the tutorials for magic, and it's like, it doesn't say that. I'm like, okay, you guys clearly didn't teach this properly because I didn't realize that was the case. Yada yada. But so that was annoying. But then one thing I thought was really cool that they did story wise was, I talked about the big giant statue of this one ancient being, probably like I'm sure it's like some sort of god in this world who exists in like the other realm, their version of the Upside Down that's just magic, that's still alive. But there's also like with most games, there's also an ancient civilization before the people in Aristea. Aristea is, I think, is that from Forspoken? No. ROST is the ancient beings. So the ROST are like the ancient civilization that used to harness magic, and they have like all these grand structures everywhere, and yada yada. It's like really cool stuff, old magic, this and that. And so in the lore to them, they've been around for like hundreds of years, kind of like in Mass Effect, like the Mass Effect relays were made by this crazy civilization that was super advanced long time ago, around forever, and they just disappeared. So similar here, it's like, oh, they were great with magic, they built these wonders, yada yada, they were around for hundreds of years, and then they disappeared. But then you find out, like, no, what happened was they learned about the binding stones in their time, used them, which gave them a shit ton of magic. Then they just used like that magic all at the same time to just build these massive structures and like expand their civilization. But they did it all within like 2 years, and then because of their abuse of that magic, they died. And so it's like, I love that idea of them thinking like, because that's typically how it goes. Like the ancient race or what have you is always like, they were around forever and they did this stuff. It's like, but in this game, it's like, no, they fucking killed themselves because they abused magic. So they weren't around for hundreds of years. They could have been before that, but then they were short-lived once they attained the ability to do what they did. So I just thought that was a really fun twist on like, the ancient race or what have you in most games that do it. So I was like, oh, that's really cool. So it's funny how this game does some stuff that's like story-wise that I think is really interesting and different. But then like there are some things where I'm like, okay, you guys kind of dropped the ball on doing this. So it's really interesting in that aspect. It reminds me a lot of like Forspoken. Like I really like a lot of stuff about Forspoken. I do want to go back to it, and like just to see like the new stuff they did, like twist on things and whatnot. And I see a lot of that with Avium, and I'm curious to keep going and just seeing where it ends, and if the bad guy is actually right. I have a feeling he might be, but and they also do a bit where like there's you have to go into this place and you're trying to get the ability to destroy the binding stone, because you're like, okay, if the big bad has the binding stone, he's going to take all the magic. It's going to be bad. He's going to end the Ever War and then kill everybody because he has so much power, and that's just what he's been doing. So like you get there and then you find out like, oh, you could either get the ability to harness the power of the binding stone yourself or destroy it. And like the main character chooses to, harness the power. Like he has a little like, there's like he's kind of having trouble making the decision, but then he like hears some like voiceover of a conversation he had earlier with one of the other characters that kind of pushes him to make this choice. But then he lies about it later when he gets out. Like, oh yeah, I got the ability to destroy it. Like they shows like the sigil on his hand, but no one knows that he's lying. So I'm like, okay, well, how's this going to play out? Like he doesn't seem like the kind of character that would lie. So it was kind of a weird character choice for him to do that. But I'll be curious to see what happens there. But yeah, it's interesting stuff. I like the traversal. That's a lot of fun. Some fun puzzles. Like I was in this. There's like this race of creatures that eats magic, and all the kingdoms like drove them underground. A lot like the infected in Kansas City, but you go down there and you're looking for this dude that went missing, and because you're trying to find out more about the binding stones from him, because he knows he's like a scholar, knows a lot about this stuff. And you go down there, it's like, so when you come across these creatures, like you can't kill them because you have no non-magic attacks, because all your attacks are magic. But what you do is you just have to hit them with enough magic to where they absorb so much, they like it bursts out of them and they have to stop and like recover. So that's like how your downtime, you're like waiting for the slow ass elevator to come down while they're doing that. So you kind of like run around. But then there's some fun bits where it's like there's a pressure plate and it opens the gate. So it's like, okay, you have to make sure that when they take that breather and they take a knee, they do it on the pressure plate so you can make it outside the door. So there's some fun bits like that where it's like, okay, now how do I juggle? But then it's like there's a little bit of annoyance where sometimes the attacks they would do would be like a leap jump attack. So I'd be like trying to stand back on the pressure plate, but then they do the jump attack and just jump over the pressure plate. You're like, God damn it, come on. Just swipe at me in Melee, man. Don't jump at me. I want you to stay on the pressure plate. But
when did you become so smart?
Yeah. But yeah, it's and then at one point, like I upgraded my red magic gauntlet to be more of a like high damage one shot slow reload thing, but it was like a 4x damage of what my normal move was, and kind of always a shotgun. So it turned it into like an RPG. And so I was just using it. It was just like one-shotting any enemy who just get in the way, and it's just so satisfying. Because then when they die, they also like voxel dust in whatever color you kind of kill them in, whatever magic you kill them with. So that's just really satisfying to do. And I'm just like, that's right, you're going down, motherfucker. But yeah, it's a fun game to play. It's just I like that, because I like that they don't do the typical, oh, you need, like, there's no rock, paper, scissors to the magic. It's just, hey, if this is a pure blue enemy, you'll kill them faster if you use blue magic. If this is a pure green, you kill them with green magic. Instead of being like, okay, which one, if they're green, you need red magic. And if they're red, you need blue magic. Like, it doesn't do any of that. So it's just like, okay, this specific enemy, kill them quicker with the magic that they are. So it's like just easy. The only annoying thing is you just cycle through the 3 colors. So you just like hit triangle, 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 and it's like, blue, red, green. And you can just double tap if you want to go straight from like blue to green, but I can't go in reverse order. So that's the only, like, I wish I could cycle through a little differently, but
like
that's
going
fine.
back and forth rather than cycling through it one way.
Yeah, like if it was like R1 and L1 to cycle or something, like cycle forward, cycle in reverse, or the D-pad, but those are used for different things. So, but yeah, that's the only thing. But eventually, I got over that, and it is fun just watching the gauntlet like spin and disappear, and then another gauntlet comes back, and every time you find a new gauntlet, it's like they have like a different, slightly different design to each of them. So it's fun to see, and like the rings that you can find, you actually see them on Jack's hand because his hand's always on screen to shoot and whatnot. But yeah, there's some fun little puzzles in there. It's a fun game. Just some of the shortcomings are interesting, but yeah, look forward to playing more. I'm not sure how long it is. I think how long to be, because I was trying to figure out what to play next. Put it at like maybe 16 hours, but I'm not doing like a ton of the side stuff. Although a lot of the side stuff I can do, it's like it's locked behind needing whatever new traversal abilities I've unlocked in order to get to those locations. So I'm not sure how much I'll actually do there, but but yeah, very kind of Metroidvania in that aspect. And then of course the Prince of Persia game came out, and I was thinking about picking that up.
Man, that game just kind of like stealthily released. I feel like Ubisoft has been releasing quite a few games recently that they just haven't marketed or haven't gotten any fanfare. And I think there was actually an article about that too.
Yeah, it's I think a lot of people give it like 8s and higher and whatnot.
Seems fun.
I think we even talked about it recently, and I still forgot that it was coming out soon. So
yeah, we were talking about that, the picture functionality for it and how it's a great addition for Metroidvanias. But just repurposing that Assassin's Creed photo mode feature into this game. But yeah, I was thinking about picking that up, giving it a shot. I probably won't do it right away because I do have some other games I want to play as well once I finish Immortals of Aveum. And then we got FF Rebirth Twice Removed or whatever coming out in
Twice
soon,
Removed.
That's gonna be a pretty big one too, I guess. So
yeah, I'm curious how long that's going to be and how much they're going to cover of the game. But I think I talked about it in Discord, but I didn't talk about it on the podcast. But I was listening to someone who never played the OG game. So before they played the remake, they replayed just through all of Midgard in the original game, and then went and played the remake. I'm like, that's such an interesting way to do it. Instead of playing the game in full, and then then he wasn't like, because he doesn't know where the second game is going to end. He's not sure how much of the original one he'd have to play. Like, I mean, you can kind of guess based on like, okay, at least up to, when that happens. But yeah, who knows how much more they can have there. So I'm like, but that's such a interesting idea. I'd be curious, like, they do like studies for like weightlifting and stuff like that, where they'll take like different groups and try like different, okay, you guys do this kind of training, you do this, and you're our control. And they kind of get a meta-analysis of how different things check. I'd be curious if you could take like twins or something and have one play it through all the way, and then one do what they're doing, and see which one kind of like is better. Because I'd be really interested in that. Because then if they ever remake something that's not 1-to-1, well, one-to-one maybe story beats for a lot of stuff, but like it's an entirely different, play style. That'd be really interested to see. Like if they ever did like a Legacy of Kain or Soul Reaver remake, like, okay, is it going to be one-to-one of the original? Like if you go back and play that PS1 game, should you play that first, then play the remake? What would it be like if you played part of it? Yada, yada. But yeah, I mean, I guess not many remakes are doing what Final Fantasy is doing, where it's in multiple parts, right? It's typically, hey, here's RE4, here's RE2, here's Dead Space, and yada, yada.
Yeah, usually when they remake a game, they just release the remake, not in like chunks.
Yeah.
I can't really think of any other games that did the weird remake thing.
Yeah, I can't think of any either that would do it differently like this, but...
Was that an angry cat noise?
I think it was probably a kid outside the window.
Angry toddler noise.
Some kid outside.
It's shockingly similar, so...
Yeah. But... all right, well, I guess we can go ahead and wrap it up there. I'm sure we'll have more Baldur's Gate 3 talk. Maybe I'll try to hop in a little, because right now I'm in my Dirge playthrough. I'm in Gauntlet of Shar, so I'm going through that. Got to finish it up so then I can progress to the next bit of the story, talk more Dirge stuff, and then more of your playthrough through Baldur's Gate. Izzy can talk about his Dirge experience and his struggles to actually do the evil stuff.
It's so hard.
It's not.
It is. You guys are just monsters.
I promise you, go somewhere and push a child. You'll understand.
I'll understand and be happy if I go and push a child.
Once you can get away with pushing a child, you'll understand.
Yeah, attitude -20 will freak him out and be like, no. I gotta load back.
But also, it's like, what do I care? You're 8.
Just quick save and just kill a bunch of people. You talked about being a murder hobo already, so I don't know why it's such a difficult problem.
I murder hoboed all the bad people. I didn't murder hobo the good people.
Yeah.
I systematically killed all of like the goblins and all of the people that bothered me, but the tieflings are great.
You just gotta buckle down and do it.
Oh, I did forget to mention that I'm playing the circle of, I don't know, the mushroom druid. So I'm very slowly collecting bodies for the point that I have the necromancy stuff. So my I have like 2 or 3. I have like a goblin, a harpy, something. I'm storing bodies in my chest at camp. So that's an indication of how I intend to play this game. Yeah,
there'll be so many bodies. Her camp. She's going to be sending a bunch of goblin corpses back to camp so she can reanimate them later.
Perfect.
I gotta have a stock just in case.
Yeah, thank God there's not a decay system.
I know, right? Well, it doesn't matter because they're going to be mushroom zombies anyway, so...
That's right. Well, because there are certain, like, when you have, like, a, raised skeleton or whatnot, there are some corpses in the world that you can't because they're just, like, whatever reason, I don't know. It's like you can't. So it's like, good thing you didn't put that in there. Like the bodies will spoil to the point where it's like, they can't be zombies anymore. They have to be, they're nothing. They're too decayed. Who knows? But there's a time limit, but that'll be funny. Michael, grab my box of bodies.
Hang on, I gotta go back to camp and grab a couple bodies before we do this fight. I want to have some zombies.
Withers just old ass stand in the corner like, what the fuck is that box over there, man?
Oh my god. I know we're wrapping up, but why, when you're talking to Withers, why is there a dialogue option where he's telling you about what he does, but there's a dialogue option that says, and you're ugly while you do it too?
There are some great dialogue options.
All of the dialogue options are very normal. Like, okay, well, what else can you do? What does this entail? And then like one of the options is just like, hey, you're ugly.
I guess you just want to be a total dick or something.
Yeah, evil gonna evil.
I guess. It's just like, why is this here? One of these things doesn't belong.
Right. They're like, do you just want to be a dick the whole time? Astarion approves.
Yeah. Astarion's just in the background with his thumbs up. Like, you can do it.
You go, Tav. Well, all right. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap it up there. So thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Izzy. Thank you, Zai, for joining.
Yep.
And we'll see you all next time.
Later.